in this tutorial we'll be setting up Blender so it looks like we're actually playing a first-person shooter. The camera will follow our character. So the last tutorial really set you up nicely for this. Let me quickly just show you how it looks. So if I quickly select my, what's going on here? All right, camera, and press 0 on my numpad, and now press P. Notice I can move my mouse anyway, and now using my keyboard, ASDS, I can follow along just like a first-person shooter would. So how does that really look? Before I do it, one, you have your camera and you have only one basic sensor. Okay, that will go along the y-axis. You notice this little line here means it's parented to the cube, and the cube has what we had before, our WADS. It's all the same, and then jump is going to be different because we're actually, if you notice over on the right side, we'll change our box to character, and we also have a mouse in here as well. So let me, whoops. All right, let's make a new file and go through this process. Here's our cube. I'm going to change this to Blender Game. I'm going to set up my look. Make sure I go to Logic Editor, press N to close that panel, zoom in a little bit. All right, so I got my cube. I'm going to add a plane, press S, and then type in 30. Deselect, select my cube and move it up. I was going to move this a little bit bigger here so I can see. Physics, there it is. All right. Now the other one I also added a plane so we can see us moving. So I might as well do that when we're at it. So plane, I'm going to rotate along the x-axis 90. I'm going to give this a color. And let's give it just a red. Doesn't really matter what color you do it. I'm just going to put it into the ground a bit and move it so that we can see. All right, so deselecting that, selecting back to the cube. So the cube, first off, we want to change it, the physics type, to a character. Now what this does, it adds a few different options. Step height, if we actually have steps, it will automatically go up these steps, so something we'll play with. Jump force, how high it jumps and how fast it falls. And you'll see later on that the jump button is almost automatic now. Okay, so we are going to add an actuator and sensor first to the camera. So we are adding a mouse. Okay, and if I can just move this over here and have a look. In this case, it's not left button, it's just going to be movement. So as long as the mouse is moving, something will happen. Our actuator is called mouse, I believe. And in this case, it's going to be the mode look. Okay, and in this time, we want to check off the Y. We don't want the Y to be visible, we just want the X. And I'm going to connect the two. All right, so I want to connect this with my character. The easiest way to do that is to go to front view and press 5, and then if you hold Alt R, your camera should go straight down. So remember, front view and ortho. Now I'm going to press 3. Okay, so now I'm on right view. Now I'm going to press R to rotate and -90 and click. So now my mouse is facing, my camera, sorry, is facing that way. And I'm just going to move it down. And this is where you decide where, kind of what you want your camera, whether it can see your character or not. But for this case, we're just going to move it a little bit in front. Now I want to make sure it's on top of the box. I'm going to go to the top view and move it right there. All right, so if I press 0 and I press P, I can move left and right with my mouse, and that's about it, which is perfect. It's exactly what we want so far. Mistake, sorry, I want the y-axis to be on and the x-axis to be off. All right, so now going to my character, so notice that I'm selecting my character. Oops, see, that's why I did it wrong. Make sure I got my character selected. But before I do that, I want to have my camera, hold Shift, and now select my cube. So notice my camera goes orange. Control P, an object. So now my camera is apparent to my object. So if I select my cube, wherever my cube goes, so does my camera. All right, so now adding my sensor. So my first sensor I'm going to add is a mouse. I'm going to make sure it's movement. Okay, mouse movement. I'm going to go with mouse again, and I'm going to change this to look. And in this case, I am going to do the opposite. I want to check off Y, I believe. Is that right? Let me see. This one was checking off X. In this case, it's checking off Y. Then now if I go back to my 0 mode and press P left, I can move it all around. All right, now we have to set up our movements, which you guys should be hopefully experts at this case. So I keep on selecting the wrong thing. I want to select the cube, not the thing. So now I'm going to add a keyboard. And in this case, I'm going to do the W key. So key W. I'm going to add a motion. And the best way to figure out, so I'll type in W here so I know they're both connected. If I select it and go to local, I want to go along the Y axis for my W key. So Y location, let's put it as 1 for example. And this connect it and press 0 and P, and I can move forward now, which is excellent. All right, so going back and finishing this all off, I'll do one more and then you guys can do the rest. So in this case, we're going to do some strafing. So strafing, this means basically shuffling to the right. So my key I want is an A key. So I'll type A here. I'm going to add a keyboard. What are you? No, sorry, motion. In this case, it's going to be along the x-axis. So I'm going to put minus 0.5. Okay, and connect it. Now, I did do a little mistake here that I forgot. In the motion here, we don't want simple motion. We want character motion because it's going to be better because since we have a character selected in our cube, right? Remember, our cube is a character. We want to make these motions also characters. So let's see here. If I zoom in and press 0, oops, press 0, P, I should hopefully. No, doesn't look like I can turn left. Okay, let's see what I did wrong. I'll be right back. All right, simple thing what went wrong is when I changed the character motion, this went away. So I'm just going to change back this to Y is 1 and X minus 0.5. Why not? Let's go to my camera. There we go. So A and S, okay, is moving things around and it's working beautifully. So you obviously have to add the other two. For jump is nice and easy since we have a character. If I go to keyboard and my key in this case will be space and I add a motion and I go to character motion, notice now that it has a jump key. So all I have to do is check off the jump. And that jump now is affected by what I have here. So if I go back to P and press space bar, okay, and if I'm not jumping enough, obviously I increase it, press P, okay, and it takes a lot longer, to get down. All right, that is basically how to set up a first-person shooter. So now finish your pre-made model, to show I have an example and then move on to your 20% time. Good luck.